Shake, shake, shake it off. See, you're getting all the hype.
I know. I like being in the comments better.
So we are going to talk about Grace's book, Without a Choice, because it has a lot of meaning, especially in these times. So I want to know what inspired you, what um, what was going through your mind when you were writing this, right? So introduce yourself and then introduce your characters.
Okay, so I'm Gray, GR Luna. Fun fact, I don't know what name I'm supposed to use because it's not like I'm hiding my name, but I always just say GR Luna and I always go by Gray. My whole family calls me Gray, but this is for Griselda Rodriguez Luna. This is Without a Choice, my debut novel. And what was the other part of the question?
I love this. Unfiltered, okay? Unfiltered. Tell us about your characters.
My character. So main character is Victoria. She goes by Tori. And when I started writing this, I was a student at San Jose State University. So I just kind of based her off of like the university environment, if you will. I was Gris, yeah. I was 20 something at the time. So I'm not entirely sure if I started writing it in 2015 or 2016. But it was a nano attempt. And then we have Thomas, who is a 15-year-old, I believe. It's been a while since I've read it. Not like I wrote it or anything, you know.
That's the cousin, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So cousin is Thomas. They become best friends. And honestly, were you on Yaya's live?
Yes.
When at the bookstore? Did you see who my cousin Tino?
Yes.
Okay, so him and I are very, very close. Our relationship is super close. We were just reminiscing on like all the crazy stuff we would do as youngins and whatnot. So I would say a big part of Tori's and Thomas's relationship is influenced by my relationship with Tino. Okay. Fun fact, though, I didn't write thinking of that relationship, that bond with my cousin. It was more so like, oh, I want him to get along. I want him to be best friends. I want him to be like, you know. And now looking in retrospect, I'm like, oh, wait, that could be Tino. Like
that was y'all.
Yeah, like, you know. Which I thought it was interesting because it's not like I did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And then we have Tori's parents, who brought her to the United States at a young age of a few months as an infant. And I mean, they're relevant to this story, but really, because it's more focused on Tori and her navigation. But they did bring her to the United States illegally, and they were pretty careless at a young age. They were just back and forth and being rebels and doing what teenagers do, I guess. And then we have Mima, which, as we all know,
we all have that grandma.
Yeah. And she was heavily influenced by both of my grandmothers. So I actually grew up with two great grandmas and two grandmas. Unfortunately, I just lost one a few days ago, but she is heavy on the Mima aspect of it. And I say this with I've told my grandma to her face and stuff, and like when we talk and we joke around and we have banter, I suppose. I always told her, you are the biggest. Can I cuss on here?
Beep.
Yeah. I love it. Like, you know, like it's just they have that old traditional mindset, personality of like, you don't let a man or anybody dictate or tell you what to do, yet they're always there like atendiendo. Like she was always there like for my grandfather and stuff like that. So it's like that general thing of like, it's always bickering because they want you to have your own beliefs but fall into the traditional beliefs and this and that, and so both of my grandmas are like that. They're both stubborn as heck, and I think I took I took their personality traits and I just combined them and I made them what they've taught me, in the sense of like, they showed me who they are, but the way that I responded to Mima in here is the way they would want me to respond.
Okay.
To, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. So Mima is, and so my grandmother that just passed away, her name was Olympia, and we called her Mimpa. So we got the M-I, Mimpa. Mm-hmm. And then my other grandma, called her Mama Belen. So I put the ma, so I put the me and the ma together.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that, I thought that was pretty cool. What other characters are there? Thomas, we have Archie, mm-hmm. Big character. He is secondary character, if you will, but there's a lot to Archie of that I try to put into the book about. It's nothing is ever what it seems. Nothing is never what you have before you. There is more to what's placed before you. And that's why I think in today's environment, it is so hard, or it's so easy to judge. Mm-hmm. But what if, like, you just don't care? What if you just befriend people and then you don't ask questions, you just like them for who they are, without worry, without anything? So I made it a priority. You've read the book, so you know. Yes. I don't want to do spoilers, but there is a twist in his character, mm-hmm. and I made it that way. I really contemplated. I went back and forth a lot because it's a big twist, but I think it was important for me to just put it as it is, mm-hmm. and let it be. There's no need to explain. There's no need to do anything. Just let it be, because in a society that we live in today, that's exactly what we've been fighting for since God knows when. Yeah, we just want it to be. That's it. Exactly. And then we have, so yeah, he's a big part. Who else? Thomas's parents, Emilio and Juana.
I have some tabs. I tabbed.
I did not tab.
There were some good things that I liked on here.
Awesome. I am probably the worst author ever.
No, you're not.
So there's them where they're old school. They only have one son, Thomas, and the dad, Emilio, is very, you're a man. You're gonna be a man, like very in, And my cousin Tino, I guess now that I can kind of, I don't know, I think it's so funny. Again, I did not think about him in the bare minimum until like he brought it up to me. And I was like, oh, I guess.
You're like, I guess that's you.
I didn't really think about it that way. Right. But he's a hardworking, and he was also raised in Cuspala, and he was drilled you're a man and this and that, and like the ¿cómo se llama? El machismo. La cultura.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, breaking away from that, and then we have the contrast between Tori and Thomas, where it's like Tori's parents are like, well, yeah, you should read a book, you should learn, you should, books teach you stuff. And then we have Thomas, where it's like, if I read a book, I get an ass beating type of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, that contrast. Juana, the typical Mexican mom, or not typical, I guess. Back in the day, typical.
Like old school mentality.
Yeah, because my mom's not like that.
Yeah.
So, and my tias and stuff, they're not like that. So it's more like the old school, of like, whatever my husband says goes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to shy in the corner, and yeah. Like, like in my head, I hear her saying like, sí, viejo, lo que tú digas. Like, mm-hmm.
But she
Like,
knows who rules the
yeah,
house.
but without her, yeah, there's no movement anywhere.
Exactly.
And then we have Mimo, which I try to portray him as that grandfather that everybody loves. He doesn't have much to say. He doesn't really care to get deep and personal with anybody. He just wants to have a chill time and do what he's got to do. And that's it. And that's kind of what he did all the way through. Is that was kind of the point of that, just because, again, the contrast. We have Emilio and Juana, where Juana is sitting in the corner, and then we have the La Viejita Nojona behind the other corner, and then we have Mimo, who he is the one that is like in the corner, which is, it's ironically, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Once they're old, like older, it's the grandma who is running everything. And I saw it with like my grandparents on both sides. Like, it was my grandmothers that were running everything towards, well, for the other ones, but the ones that are still living, my grandma's the one that's calling the shots, right? And when they were younger, when I was younger, it was the opposite. So I thought that was a cool contrast as well, because it's funny how the world works.
Yeah.
It goes round in circles.
Yeah.
You know? And then who am I missing?
I think that's it. Those were your main characters. The main character, the cousin, the girlfriend.
Oh, Crystal. Crystal doesn't matter.
She don't matter.
She was just
Get her out of here.
Just for the plot. She was a paid actor.
So my question to you is, what inspired you to pick a DACA recipient? Because as someone that has DACA, I enjoyed your book so much, Gray. Like, you portrayed us so well, and it meant a lot to me. I cried literal tears when I read your book.
Oh, but
So what made you choose a DACA recipient?
Again, I was at university. San Jose State is very diverse. There's people of all walks of life at San Jose State. And it was 2015? I want to say it was 2015, the first time Donald Trump made his verbal accusations during a campaign. I am the granddaughter of, his name is Ramiro Rodriguez, and he was a politician in Mexico. He was ¿cómo se llaman? The mayors, I guess, the equivalent of a mayor. And so I grew up being a sucker for politics. I remember at an early age, I was always watching the debates with my dad and all that stuff. And that year, 2015, it was a big deal. Like, things were, that wasn't politics anymore.
Yeah.
Not to get political here, but it was a shit show.
Yeah.
Right. And I wrote a piece, like a little article that I shared with a few people. And it was, at the time, my cousin had just been deported, I believe. Rightfully so. I'm not going to defend him.
Yeah.
Because it was DUI. So I'm not going to defend him. I'm not here to do, but I saw his process. And it was a headache and a half. And seeing that, being in university and being in an environment where I was surrounded, I'm a Spanish major. I have a bachelor's in Spanish. There's a lot of DACA students within that group of people. Psychology as well. One of my very good friends was a DACA recipient. And me, as a person who, I guess, I don't know the political way of speaking on this, but being privileged, I suppose, I thought that I can give back and I can shine a light. And it's not that I'm making the story mine, because it's not. It's that I'm taking everybody's experiences with their consent. Because I did reach out and I said, hey, I want to do this because I've heard your story. because I've heard my cousin's story, because I've heard my friend's story, your sister's story, everybody's story. So I decided, if I can use my platform to a certain extent, because I didn't really have a platform, but like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Why not?
You can have your books inspired, which they will, because it teaches you
Yep.
that you could be this person that has a career and has done everything by the book, and one little thing will lead until the unthinkable, and then your life flashes before your eyes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you captivated so well, because one little bad thing can set a whole domino effect.
Yep. Yep.
So,
And I just saw it was very, again, right now I feel tied. I don't know if you saw Selena Gomez
mhm.
situation going on. I feel like Selena Gomez. I feel like I want to cry like Selena Gomez did. I want to do the same thing that Selena Gomez did, but I feel like I'm also going to get the same response she's getting, which is negative. And it's like, I feel like my hands are tied, right? So this is what I know how to do. I know how to write.
Yes, and you wrote a
So
good book that
thank you.
teaches you basically what happens in the event
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
deportation without a
That's
choice, literally. Without a choice. You touched a lot of big subjects in your book. So you touched mental health, which in the Latino community it's very taboo.
it is.
And how did you navigate that? Because you have different generations, right? You have the grandparents, you have the parents, and then you have the teenagers. So how did you navigate all three?
I think because I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
I my parents, you guys got to meet my parents. They are they cracked their generational cycle, if you will.
Mhm.
They put a crack in it, and I came in and I knocked it out at the
You just
park.
shattered it.
I shattered it. I was like, nope, open it up. But it comes with a lot of life experience. It comes with a lot of not life experiences that I've lived through. There's a lot of hardships to what I wrote, because a lot of it, again, it resonates with real life.
Hmm.
I can get super vulnerable if you like, or we can keep it
Whichever
light.
you want.
It's up to you, because it can get heavy.
It's a heavy
It's
topic.
very heavy, and so for starters, I felt comfortable doing the LGBT part of it because I identify as pansexual.
Hmm.
I have been in relationships previously with females. I'm currently engaged to my wonderful fiance. We have a kid, all that stuff. But I also saw that world. Along with that, the mental health aspect. Are we censored here like we are on TikTok?
I think we're more censored here than we are on TikTok.
Okay. So what's the correct way of saying the S word? Or
Sexual orientation.
no. The I get the
Oh, unalive.
unalive. There we go. So the unaliving part of it, back in 2009, we were seniors in high school, and on a Tuesday morning, pun intended, I guess, we received a call, a text, whatever, that a friend of mine had ended her life. Um, it was weird at the time because I didn't know what that meant, and I was already 17 years old.
Hmm.
Crazy, not knowing what it meant, but it was the taboo, the stigma, everything surrounded it, and it encapsulated it to a lot. So the story of her in the book, which is Monica, has a lot of truth to it in what I share. I shared that I bonded with Monica over, well, her real name is Monique, over self-harm. I used to do that. Over the ideation, I had that. I've had, unfortunately, 2 attempts in my life. And when hers became successful, there was a lot of things that I didn't understand, but also why her and not me, right?
Mhm.
And we opened this door of, within the class of 2009, we opened this door of, let's be there for each other, because this was crazy. This was hard. This was, I mean, unimaginable. Like, there was, I don't think anybody can describe what it was, right? She was also somebody who joked around about that a lot. Oh, we'll see you tomorrow, dude. Or will you? What if I don't come tomorrow? What if this? What if that? There was a lot of that. So of course it was unfortunate. Of course it was sad. But every year, May 19th, October 19th, she passed away. May 19th, her birthday's October 19th. I remember her every year, and it's been since 2009. I don't know how many years that is now. But it's, I didn't I didn't want her unaliving to be in vain. You know, there has to be something done. Fast forward 2018, I lost a second friend to self unaliving. He was a social worker. He had two kids, a girlfriend, fiance, whatever. I'm not sure. I would only see him every once in a while, because we did, obviously. I was already, what the heck, 2018, 20 something. I don't know. Late 20s maybe.
Mhm.
And that hit me like a ton of bricks. We were really close where we lived, and again, I was in a very dark place at that time, and just maybe a little bit before that, I had my second attempt, and here I am. So it was again that cycle of, why did he succeed, but why didn't I? But also, he was a social worker. You have the resources that you need. You have everything. Why did you leave your children behind? Like, the anger and everything. So I just took that. Unfortunately, my story with self unaliving doesn't end there. I've had an uncle, I've had a cousin, I've had two, three other people that I went to high school with did the same thing. So it's around,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So I decided I'm not gonna let it go. And it became, I don't want to say an obsession, but it became a, what's the word? It's like a healthy obsession, I suppose, because I wanted to spread the word. I wanted you to know you're not alone. And I wanted to make sure that you know that you're not alone. I wanted to make sure your, I don't know, your sister knew you're not alone, your friend, whoever, and everybody I come around, I always make sure to ask, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Not, and sometimes I literally, quite literally, quote, I'm not asking what society wants you to answer. I'm asking, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Because I think it makes a difference. So I tackled that topic for those reasons, because they need to be talked about.
Yeah.
And it's 2025, and it's still sheltered, and it's still something that people don't know
Not.
how to navigate, you know? And I think, honestly, I think once something like that happens around you, the generations blend in. So going back to like what you initially had asked of like, how did I tackle all three generations? I feel like they just meshed into one.
Okay.
Nothing else mattered except that.
Yeah.
And I actually have a question for you.
Okay.
Who do you think the main character of Without a Choice is? Or who drives the story?
I want to say it's, and I can't remember her name to save my life. what is the female's main character's name?
Tori?
Tori. I don't think it's Tori. I think it was the cousin.
Yeah.
I
And it
think
was
it was
and
the
it was
cousin.
yeah, and it
Because
was
I,
all set at the
because
beginning.
I think that she helped him come out of his shell and be who he really was.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks that the society that we live in does not allow that.
And I think I've had people read it and they don't see that yet.
Yeah.
And I hope one day they will. Because not only did she help him, but he drove her to success. He
Yes.
everything set up for her to be successful, and he gave everything that he could possibly to make sure she knew what she was capable of. I've done research. I have a psychology major as well. I've done research on self-unaliving and things like that, and it's very, very common that when somebody is going to do something like that, they make sure all their ducks are in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, I felt like I had to do that for Thomas. I had to line up his ducks.
And I
You know?
think that's where readers will like connect with your book because it does come from a place within with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you portray it in this book so much that it like sucks you in and it makes you feel all the freaking emotions, every single emotion, from the anger, from the happiness, from everything, Gray. Like it literally makes you feel like, wow. And because you put so much passion into it,
Yeah.
I feel like that's why it did that. Um, let me see, what did I tab?
And
Um,
it's important, just keep talking about it because it's going to continue to be a taboo unless it's spoken of. And right now, as of today, in this, again, it's so hard to avoid it because it's where we're living right now. But in this political climate, I'm curious to know what those numbers are, because knowing those numbers, I think, should reinforce what I've just said
yeah,
out to people. It doesn't matter if you think they're okay. It doesn't matter if they said they're okay. Because me, as someone who has attempted, I will always say I'm okay.
yeah,
I will always make you laugh. I will always make you smile. I will always put everything before me so that you are okay. Because that's who we are. That's what we do.
yeah,
But behind closed doors, that's a different story.
yeah,
So that's why I always reinforce, and I do it myself. Like, I think I've done it with you where I'm like, hey, I'm just checking in, how are you today, and stuff like that. And I do that a lot because what happens if you don't,
yeah,
you know?
yep.
So I will always reinforce that, always.
That is very, very nice of you. Because some people just ask to ask, and it's nice to know that you're not just asking to ask. You're genuinely wanting to know, like, hey,
Yeah.
are you okay?
Yeah. And it sucks because that's how friendships are tainted now.
Yeah,
Friendships are because, what do you want from me? What do you need? What are you looking for? What ¿Qué ocupas?
yep,
You know, like, are you okay? Why are you talking to me? Type of thing. But it's like, no, like, I personally take friendships for what they
yeah,
are. I stick up for whoever I call my friend because that's what friends
yep,
do. You know, that's what friends are. I don't care if we're whatever miles away or whatever. I will reach out. I will make sure people are okay. I will do that because that's a friendship.
yeah.
That's what, you know. So yeah.
Now, the place to change the place that you picked for your book, it's it's where you're from or your family's from.
Yes.
And with that, it also brings us to a place that you grew up in, and the way you describe everything, it takes us there. Like it lets us know we're there. So is every place in your book a real place, or did you make up certain
I made
places?
a certain
Okay.
place. So Cuspala, Zacatecas is a real place.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that happens in Cuspala is a real place. The church is real. The when they run out of church, that they go to the little river thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. The balcony is actually the balcony from one of my grandparents' house. I've shared a video on that,
Yes,
I believe.
I saw that.
What else is the
The library?
the Cuspala sign intact?
Uh-huh.
That's real. The library, the building is real. The library itself is not real.
Okay.
It was a school where we used to go play basketball and stuff like that. But it's so what I used as the inspiration for the library, like the location is real. It is a school, it's everything. Or it used to be a school, I don't know. I just made it into a library. The horse races are real. What's not real is the little meadow thingy.
Okay.
I don't know how to call it. Is it like a little meadow? Like where the
Think,
rock is and things like
yeah.
that's not real. That's kind of what we always imagined when we drove from town to town. We would always kind of talk about, like among cousins and things like that. How cool would it be if that was
If it
there?
was an actual place.
Yeah, how cool would it be? Like, oh, like imagine like a little man-made lake or like things like that. So the talks about it were real in my life when we would go, because even with my dad, it was like, oh, can we make it? Let's go make it ourselves. Like, okay, DIY. Let's go DIY it real quick, you know? But in itself, it's not
Yeah.
there. You won't find it. But everything else.
What else? Mm-mm-mm. No, Carla had said something earlier.
Arla said, oh my God, great. I just started reading and I'm hooked. 3 pages in and the prologue. Good luck, Carla. Don't cry though.
Good luck. She will cry. I'm here to tell you she will cry.
So another fun fact. So I'm a very intentional person. I don't do things just for fun.
Yeah.
I'm very meticulous. I'm very I do things for a reason. So the hello. So Chiona, good luck. Buy some tissues.
Because you're gonna cry.
Yes. So the scorpions is a question that I always get. Why scorpions? Why? So scorpions are very relevant out there. They are there a lot. You find them. Don't walk barefoot. Don't put on clothes without shaking it. Don't go to bed without freaking stripping it down and putting it back in without your little UV lights or whatever. They're everywhere. Literally everywhere. Scorpios are so based off of like I always have to look it up because I always forget. But based off of like the horoscope, I guess the ability to hide in the dark and observe, but stay ready to deliver disabling stings if threatened. So that's kind of like the.
I like that because it goes with your characters.
Yeah. So then the significance, I guess, is of a scorpion is the fact that they're passionate, they believe in transformation, and they're resilient. So, and again, in Without a Choice, there's a lot of like, sorry, my child is. There's a lot of resilience. There's transformation. There's a little bit of everything, and then we have the fact that I am a Scorpio, and my child is too. I wanted to include him in my books. I want to include him in everything I do. Are you okay? So those are my scorpions.
Let's see.
They're everywhere. And that's why too they're placed in the story, they're placed at like certain certain things that are happening, and it's just like boom, a scorpion, and then like boom, there's another one, like just little.
So you put them like little Easter eggs in your book.
Yeah, it's kind of like a foreshadowing, like why
Yeah.
is scorpion here? But obviously, you would have to know what it means, and you would have to like look into it. So yeah, I do a lot of things on purpose.
I also like that you put some poems in here because you write
Yes,
poems.
poetry is my forte, if you will. I love writing poetry. It's yeah, so I included that in here. I made her a writer. I think that was the easiest way to encapsulate everything and just let her feel, and also give the reader kind of that poetic feeling to it, of like whether she was describing her girlfriend or whether she was describing a certain situation or Thomas from afar. Just little things like that where I think words, I mean, they're still words, but sometimes words fail. So if you paint that picture and you give it a little bit of a rhythm, I suppose, like a song, it kind of hits a little bit harder. So I was like, hey, why not? We'll do that.
Add that to it. Do you guys have any questions for Gray? Gray.
Any questions, I will answer. I'm never scared of questions because I'm such an open book. I'm scared of the way I'm going to answer because I ramble forever. And that's just, I mean, again, it's a testament to like, there's a lot more than meets the eye without a choice. And yeah.
They want to know what's next, Gray.
What's next? I am retired and I'm going to go live on an island. No. I'm currently working on another novel. It has like psychological vibes to it, kind of. But I don't know. I have a really hard time categorizing because I'm like, dude, they include everything. Like, I don't know exactly where. And Jen, of course, has been asking for her cowboy romance, so we're dabbling into that. I actually read the first chapter to my mom yesterday, and she was like, "Oh, I like it." So that's pretty cool. I want to get back into poetry. I want to do a poetry book in Spanish as well. And then translating.
I'm going to say, are you going to translate it to Spanish?
I have a friend who's currently reading it, and she's a Spanish teacher as well. We did our schooling together, and hopefully she can help me because I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know how to translate in terms of, should I translate verbatim? Obviously not verbatim because it doesn't translate. Or
Yeah.
focus on the concept and rewrite it. I don't know. So I'm kind of at a loss there for right now. Mi vaquero capataz.
I did read a little piece of your vaquero.
Oh yeah, you did.
I liked it. Keep going.
Thank you.
I was like, are you writing a cowboy romance?
Yeah, Jen is.
She's gonna love it.
Es la culpable. I'm gonna have to put right there. Dedicated to Jen.
Jen and her cowboy romance.
Sorry, I made you. This is to make up for making you cry over Thomas.
Just kidding. You're gonna cry over the vaquero too.
I mean, probably. Yeah, I think that's what's next. I'm not entirely. A while ago, I had this crazy idea of trying to do like a Christmas theme. Isn't it cool?
You're gonna call it FMC, Nana.
Maybe. Who knows? I don't even know what her name is yet. I don't know anything when it comes to my books, and I think that's hilarious.
How did the publishing of your book go? Was it hard?
Oh, you
Because this is your first book, right?
novel? Yes.
First novel.
Yes. Let me show you without a choice.
She's gonna destroy you, Jen.
Here you go. This is without a choice.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's all here. Probably knowing that much. I won't destroy you. I don't know. Maybe I'll make it a happy one. What happened to good old green flags walking around? Who knows? But that's kind of boring. I don't know.
We need a little bit of a jab. Just a little.
Right. So this is my thesis right here. It has my so that was that. So actually I can tell you right now, without a choice, who
Yes.
the names weren't even. I think her name was Elena, not Tori. And I think he was, I don't know what his name was. Oh no, it was Thomas. There it is. Yeah, so I just changed her name, I guess.
From Elena to Tori.
Yeah. And then the creative, I mean, we went from this was a homework assignment to it became my professor, my thesis. They approved it. They were like, dude, this is great. You should probably consider publishing it. Whatever. I don't know how to query. I don't know how to do none of that stuff. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it myself. So from that it became this one, which there's a lot of stuff going on in here, from chapter changing, names, edits, no, like there's a lot of it. And then we went from this to what was becoming a closer rendition, but believe it or not, none of this is without a choice. Like, it's without a choice in the making, but it won't, like, if you read this stuff, it doesn't match that. This started coming together once I started piecing it together on the computer. So the editing process, the writing process was crazy.
Oh,
especially I never know what's gonna happen. So I didn't know the ending until I wrote the ending. I didn't know the beginning until I wrote the beginning. I didn't know anything. So when I had one of my best friends, she would read and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, what's gonna happen next? This sounds so good."
You're like,
I don't know.
No.
I'll tell you whenever I write it. I have no idea. But it's also very hard, and I think it's very interesting as a writer when you are writing. So if I'm having a good day, it translates into writing. If I'm having a bad day, it translates into writing. Even if it's a happy scene, because I wrote it, I can tell, like, oh, I was not having a good day that day. Even if it's a not happy scene in the book, it's like, oh, I was having a good day that day. Crazy, you know? And I think a lot of the times it's like I have this idea and I can be like, oh, I'm going to write it this way. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to do this. It's like this little like mini outline. And then the day comes, or I sit in front of the computer, and once you start typing, there's no saying what you're going to do. Like, it goes a different way. It goes left field, like, completely. But yeah, I did everything by myself. Every little thing I edited like crazy. I actually have two of those.
That's impressive, Grace.
Non-resale things, copies. I have two of those that are completely written on. This one. Yeah, so before I got to here, there's 2 books and 2 documents on my computer that had to get edited before that, and that's excluding. In here, there's three copies, I think.
So you're completely sold out, so there's no more books on Amazon or anything?
There's on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
We sold out what we took into the store, and then
Gotcha.
Don't tell me you like it, because I already have my cover, but this was a potential cover for Without a Choice.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So
But you did a good job with
I went back, and again, I really put thought into what I do. The colors represent stuff in here. They're not just chosen for no reason. I'm a weirdo.
And I like what you put in the cover for your quote, we ended up in a cage when we just wanted to be, because it could go for either character
for
because
any
they were both.
for any character.
Yeah.
I think it can work as for Mima as well as it can work for Thomas.
Yeah, you're
It can work
right.
for like anybody. Like it's just, you know. And I think Jen, was it Jen? She might have, I think it was Jen, who suggested I write like Mima's story or like the mom story or something. And you know what? I was like, I don't think I can, like a novella or something.
Mm-hmm.
Back of my mind recently because of the current events.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? Maybe I can. Who knows? I never know anything. We just go for it.
Just go for it. That would be a good one because it's a different generation. You
Yeah.
get to tap into that
Yeah. And
that
just
mindset.
their story of like how did they come? How did they view life, and just going a little bit into depth, because I know I talk about it like a little bit, give a little bit of their background and how they were just young, wild, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of like, okay, well, how do we add a little bit more?
Jen sent me to hear that B-side. She needs to redeem herself.
We might. So, and then now I guess, I mean, now my grandma passed. It's kind of like, it would be kind of like a book for her, I guess, and her memory, and just I think it would have to have a lot of stories of like my grandma and myself for that, just because, I mean, it sounds like she's horrible. Mima sounds horrible, but are they really? Or are they just stuck in this? Are they just stuck in that cage?
Yeah, and
you know,
that mindset. Yep.
like, and I always give the benefit of the doubt, because it's like, okay, you might have a different opinion, but why do you have that different opinion?
Yeah.
You know, and I can understand why. I don't have to agree, but I can understand, and I can see, I can try to like, oh, okay, you know, I get it, but I don't, but you know, that kind of thing. But overall, yeah, it's a one-man job over here with all the edits and just everything.
Since
The
it is a heavy topic in the Latino community, were you at any point afraid of
oh
publishing it because of what the family might think, you know? Because we're all in the Latino community. Someone's going to say something.
Yep, always. I still am. I actually talked to Catherine before our book event, and I was like, this is crazy. I don't know. There was an incident at the book event
Oh, no.
where it got kind of weird, and I was like, okay, like, I mean, I don't care if you don't want to read my book. I don't care if you don't.
Yeah.
You know, it was a story that I had to tell, so I did, and I'm content with it, and I love it. But I did get a little on edge, because once it was a lady that was in there. She asked me about the topics, and once I started, like, her whole demeanor changed, and it was a like, okay, what's your book about, to Catherine. So it was kind of like, yeah, I'm scared. I want to go home. I don't want to be. And honestly, that when I would tell you guys, like, I'm so nervous, those were the nerves. Like, oh my god, like, this is so relevant today that it's kind of like, ¿qué voy a hacer si me aparece un loco? ¿Qué voy a hacer? You know, like, all these, like, I have absolutely no idea. I'm just gonna hide under a table or something. I don't know, you know, because they're real thoughts, and everybody's entitled to their own opinions and everything. And it's like, it's just, I don't deal good with conflict.
And your book is fiction, so people
Yeah,
can take it with a grain of salt, you know?
but yeah,
It doesn't necessarily mean
you know,
anything.
and then a lot of family was like, oh, I want to read your book. I want to read your book. And it's kind of like, okay, well, go for it, but enter at your own risk. My parents, I love my parents to death. They're great. They have always encouraged everything I do and anything. However, they haven't read it. My mom cannot see the letters, and my dad doesn't read English, and I'm fine with that. So I think it's funny, because they're like, yeah, we support her. Like, they know what it's about, the topics, but they haven't read the story. but they're always everywhere with me. Like they'll show up and they're supportive and they're cheering me on and whatever. And it's like, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Like, you know, but I also have family who probably won't like it and they'll probably have something to say. It's like, well, that's your opinion and you do you, boo,
Yeah.
type of thing.
Your parents were so supportive. They were so damn
I
cute.
am so jealous that I didn't get to watch
I
them
loved it.
because I would have wanted to watch that. They're funny. They're very, like I said, I love them to death. They're my world. But it's so funny because they are typical Mexican parents. They will tell the whole wide world they are proud of me, but they will not tell me that they're proud of me. They will not like come to me and be like, actually, when I published it and I got the first copies, I signed one for my mom and one for my dad. And I gave it to them, and my dad was like, cool. ¿Y qué quieres que haga con eso? Like, read it. But that's him like trying not to cry in my face, like holding back tears and being like, and I was like, wow, okay. And I gave it to my mom, and she was like, okay, like kind of the same, but it was kind of like, I want to cry, but I'm not gonna tell you that.
Yeah.
So I just think it's hilarious because I don't get offended easy. I really don't care. And I had to be like, are you proud of me? Are you proud of me? Did you ever think I was gonna write the book? Blah blah. And they're like, yeah, yeah. And like they'll share it on social media and they'll do everything. They show up to my book events and things like that. But I think it's hilarious because they're like, yeah, we're so proud of her. And then I'm like, are you proud of me? No. Like, love,
They're
guys.
supporting you the best way that they know.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I love it. I feel like if they were like very open of like how supportive, I'd be like, ¿Qué tienes? Why are you showing me so much love? Like, weird. But that's just how we are. We're a crazy family, definitely. But yeah, it's so my cousin Tino went to Mexico a few weeks ago, and he took Without a Choice to Mexico, to Cuspala, Zacatecas. He took it and he took pictures at the like sign going into town.
Oh, that's awesome.
And a lot of people, because when I go to Mexico, I'm an introverted anywhere I go, but it's like I don't really know people. I just keep in my own little shell and I just keep to myself and that's it. My cousin is very out there, like he's always socializing and whatnot. And he kept talking about it. Every day I got like 5 text messages. I told X amount of people about your book today, or I did this, or I did that. And I'm like, dude, you're the best. One day I'll repay you. And he's like, everybody wants it in Spanish. And I'm like, how? A part of me wants to translate it, another part of me is like, but are they okay with the topics? Like,
yeah.
Or am I canceled by Guspala? Like, what's gonna happen there with all these topics? What are they? Like, what do they, I don't know. I don't know how open they are. I haven't been to Guspala in almost 10 years. So it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't know what to expect. I wouldn't know what a Spanish audience would bring, a Spanish audience. And that's terrifying in itself.
I think the younger generation would welcome it with open arms.
Yeah, I would hope so because it's crazy. It's a lot of like the heaviness to it and everything. But
It's
again,
a good topic, and I think that's why it's such a great book because you touch topics that people are afraid to touch.
And I've always said it, like,
it opens doors to communication, to conversations.
And I've always said too from the beginning, it's supposed to make you uncomfortable.
Exactly.
You're supposed to feel a certain way. You're supposed to want to be like, I don't want to read this anymore. But wait, what happens on the next page? What's gonna happen this? And the point is it's a roller coaster of events, and I try to make it to where it's like a constant like roller coaster, because you should have felt somewhere in between the pages where it's like, I need to put this down because I don't know how I feel about it. Or I need to put this down because, como dicen, if the shoe fits, wear it.
Yeah.
And people don't like cuando te dicen tus verdades. No les gusta to be told hey, you need to be more aware of the people in your surroundings. You need to care less and be there more, type of thing. Or just like things like that. And th- that was, I mean, obviously not necessarily intentional, but it was intentional to want a reaction out of people,
Yeah.
because it's supposed to have a reaction. And I think it comes to show at the end with Mima, like the whole I'm apologizing, but she still had the same mentality. And then you have Thomas's parents, where it was like, damn, I messed up, and now they're doing something to make a difference,
Yep.
you know. And it's like that again, the world goes round and everything loops around and everything just shows, and it is what it is. Like, I mean, I can't go back to 2009 and bring my friend back, or
Yeah.
2008 and bring them back. Do I wish I can? Yes, but I can't. I, for one, survived or didn't succeed, whatever, and I'm here and I can tell these stories because they suck.
Yeah.
They suck. They're stories that you don't want to tell, but somebody's got to do it. And I will always do it because I'm here for a reason
And
today.
that's why you didn't succeed, because you are sharing. You're shining a light on a topic that not everyone wants to speak on. And
That's
you're going to make a
hey,
difference. And I believe your book is going to make it big, because it's gonna.
I've
Hear me
had
out.
I've had a couple people reach out, and I don't even know who they are, and they've like reached out and they're like, I can see your book play out like a
The
movie or
movie,
like
yeah.
a show. And I'm like, dang, don't boost up my ego now. Relax a little bit. Let me chill for a little bit. No, but I mean, that would be awesome. Who wouldn't want that, you know? And bringing this to like a TV screen is like shining a light, not on me. I can care
Yeah.
less. I don't
But on
need the
the
attention.
characters.
And I've always said that, and I've always been like that. Like, I don't care about the attention. I don't care what comes with it. I don't care if I sell 100 books or five. I really don't. The point here is that those five people read it, that they read it and they took something away from it. And if only one of those five did, that's good enough. My job here is done. And that's just how I see it. Like, I didn't write to be famous. I didn't write to become something, to become rich. No way. You know, like, there's no I wrote, and I will continue to do so because I hope one person it lands in the right hands, at least one person. And as soon as that's done, the rest is history.
Yeah.
It will, as soon as I hit that publish, it's not mine anymore. It becomes yours. It's your book. It's whoever reads it, whoever can take it. And like, when you reached out and you were like, "Oh my god," like, and you told me a little
I
bit about yourself.
immediately was like, great.
Yeah. And when you told me a little bit about yourself, like, when I tell you guys, like, I am very thankful that you gave Without a Choice a chance. I mean it, because not only did you give it a chance, but you resonated with it, and it makes my long days and nights of editing, literally line by line, making sure the periods are where they go and everything, like, grammatically correct, everything, that makes it all worth it. And it's just, it is what it is. And I don't know if you know, but I'm a perfectionist and I have slight OCD, so you can only imagine the process of
That took forever, I'm
everything.
sure.
And actually, one of my biggest fears too was, um, I'm going sidetracking here, but I English was not my forte in school. Writing was not my forte in school. When I would write like those little silly things, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would put like an author. I had a few high school teachers be like, "You can't even write an essay. What are you gonna do writing a book?" I had a Spanish professor at university level. She said, "How are you gonna write a book if you don't know how to write?" And I was like, "What do you mean I don't know how to write?" She's like, "Yeah, you write whatever she described it as." And I was like, "What the heck?" You know? And it was, to this day, nobody has commented on like the writing style or anything like that. So I'm like, I must have done an okay job.
Yeah, like it's an easy read. Like
Yep.
it was well written, Gray.
And because it's so heavy, you want it to be an easy read. You
Exactly.
don't want to be like, wait, what the heck is? I have to go back to chapter 2 and remember
Yep.
this or that. You don't want that. You want it to be an easy read, so
And
that
it flowed.
everything can
Yep.
hit. So yeah, I was one of those. You're not going to be an author, and here we are.
You know what scene? And it's not. I don't think it's a spoiler. I'm not going to spoil anything. But there's one scene that stuck in my head was when they went to Veracruz. That scene, I could see it in my head over and over and over again.
Okay, that was. Let me see. Can I find it?
Exactly, Ray. Those teachers can go suck it.
Yes.
Look at
I'm
you
gonna
now.
screenshot that and send it to them.
Yep. And hold up your book and the
Right.
finger that doesn't belong.
Okay, so that scene at the end, I really like that one when Thomas isn't at the water and
Yes.
Tori and Crystal are looking at him as like por atrás, like
Yep.
their view is
Yeah.
him, and like that quote. I don't even remember where it's at. No, Ray hasn't read it, huh?
Ray or Carla or Lupi.
Oh yeah, it's just so. I don't know where it's at. My favorite part is when Mima says, "It's time for you to go."
Time for you to go.
I read that very dramatically.
I think you ended it where you can continue the story if you wanted to.
So based on true events for the most part. Yeah. And I had actually people tell me like nobody's gonna want to read that because it's so heavy. Like books are supposed to be fun. I was like, no, books are supposed to make you think.
Exactly.
Books are supposed to be, yeah, they're cute and the romance and this and that, but what was the bigger picture? And again, I've said it and I've always been this way. I do everything intentionally in my life. Like it's not my kid's name isn't my kid's name just because I chose it. Like there's meaning behind it. There's meaning behind everything I do.
Yeah.
Like I like to consider myself a baby Taylor Swift with all the
Easter
eggs and how she like put that. I'm nowhere near Taylor Swift, but I really because then that way if you don't like something, that doesn't take away from my creativity and my work because I wrote it with intention of something. So I know what it means.
Yeah.
I know what it is and I can explain it to you, but you don't have to see it that way. And that's where like Thomas comes in, where it's like he's the main reason for the story. And a lot of people oversee that. Yeah. For a lot of people, it's Tori. Is she going to go home? Is she not going to go home? What's going to happen? But it's the fact that Thomas did everything. Like she got there, y se le pegó.
Yeah.
And he just went for it. And as he did what he could to let her walk, because that wasn't her land to walk on.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. You know, that wasn't her land to walk on. So he made it easy for her to do so. And he made sure Archie was going to do what he did for her and be who he is for her and all that good stuff. And it's just again, it's fun to be a writer.
It was amazing. Like Carla and Ray, I can't wait to hear
Thank you, Carla.
all your thoughts on the book because me and Jen, we cried. We cried. And it touched a very special place in my heart because of the topic.
Mm-hmm. I've cried too. I think every time I read it, I cry. Every time I've read it, I cry. When I wrote it, it was like crying, and I'm just like, Okay, I need to stop. My keyword's gonna mess up. Is it?
Todas las lágrimas.
Yeah, and it's hard, like it, because there's a lot of truth behind it. It's fiction, yes. Again, it's just things I picked and chose from my life that I've seen, I've observed, and I put it together. And that's what it was. And I like to think that writing it was without a choice as well. Like, I didn't have a choice. I had to write it. It was meant to be written. It was meant to be read. And that's that. It is, you know. You did that. I did do that.
You did that.
All that. And yeah, that's without a choice in a nutshell, I think. I don't know if I'm missing anything. Am I missing anything?
I think
I would have prepared.
I appreciate you talking to me about it. I've been wanting to do this because, like I said, it did touch like a very personal spot in my life.
Yeah.
And the way you wrote that scene, like you did it so well. I was like, wow. I was like, I need to know her brain.
and I feel like I disappoint in that aspect because I'm like,
you don't at all.
My brain is just sit down and write. Like, just do it. Like right now, I just printed out. So the psychological one that I'm working on, that I think I've shared with you. The running title is The Blue-Eyed Barista. So with that one, I had to print it out like yesterday because I was like, I don't even know what the heck I'm writing anymore. Like, I'm so lost. I have absolutely no idea who's who and what's what. Like, it beats me on the plot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, and that's just how my brain works. Like, it's organized, but it's very unorganized at the same time. And I just go for it. And when you guys are live reading and stuff, I'm writing or whatever, doing whatever I got to do. And it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to guess the other chapter was talking about this.
Froze, Gray.
Oh, no. Am I still frozen?
Yes.
No. Uh-oh. But can you still hear me?
Yes.
So I never know what's next, and I don't try to remember because, again, being a perfectionist and having hints of the OCD situation is very, I have to do things on purpose. I have to be like, okay, I have to move on. I can't dwell on it porque si no, nunca voy a acabar nothing. And everything is going to be incomplete and everything is just going to stay there. So therapy in the writing process.
Yeah. Well, it was a beautiful book. I enjoyed it. And I'm going to keep sharing the hell out of it because I think in this day and age, it will help someone feel to be seen. I think it will help people feel that they are seen.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. I want people to not be a Thomas.
Yeah.
I want people to, and I need to get better at it because after the whole ban situation for the other app, que se va, que se queda, que se va, que se queda, I lost the enthusiasm for posting on there, and I need to get better at it because right now, I think it's needed more than ever. And that sounds kind of conceited, not to toot my own horn or anything like that. Like, it has nothing to do with me. Like, I can care less about me. I just hope it lands in the right hands and it's experienced the way it's supposed to be experienced because, that's just, gotta get somebody else to read it next. And then, actually, I have a few sales this month after no sales for, a little bit. And I was like, oh, well, on Amazon. So I was like, oh, yes, we're going to read it. And they're going to be like, oh, today. And that's another fun fact. I started writing this 10 years ago. And when I started editing, like hardcore edits, November 2023, then I picked it up again. I was like, is this even going to be relevant anymore? Like, that's part of what I was second guessing. Like, o sea, ni al caso, ya, eso ya quedó en el pasado type thing. And it's like, oh, just kidding.
No, but it's always relevant.
Just kidding. It's coming right back.
Yeah. Well, all the topics are relevant. Like,
And it's
definitely.
crazy.
Well, I know we're going to post this later. So where can people find your book?
You can find it on the good old Amazon. It is on there. It is linked in my little link tree thing. But just Without a Choice, GR Luna, y ahí sale everything. It's not on ebook because there's a lot of drama with ebooks, and I am selfish because I didn't want to deal with that stress. I didn't want to go through that. Am I hurting myself when it comes to the popularity that it can gain off of an ebook? Yes, sure, but it's all right. It's a loss I'm willing to take because there's too much drama on there. So for the time being, no ebook, but it is on Amazon. Yeah. It's on there. And we will keep it on there for as long as we can, because I think also I'm very proud at the fact that I potentially wrote a book that can land on the banned books list.
Yeah.
So I think that's a badge I'll wear with honor.
Yes. You did something right. If they're afraid for people to see it, you did something right.
Yeah. So hopefully it stays on there.
Yes.
I think we're okay for the time being. Who knows? But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
And thank you for doing this. I'm so nervous.
You did so well. So well.
Thank you.
So we'll end it with that. Without a Choice by GR Luna. Go check it out. It's on Amazon and her link tree in her bio.
Yes.
Thank y'all for joining. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.